So you tweeted out, I think it was yesterday, the salary cap that is available. And the Browns currently have $48,700,000 and some change. The next closest is $22.5 million. They do have all 90 of their roster spots accounted for at this point. When you look at that, is that number? Take us through what that means as far as $48 million. They'd probably like to roll a lot of that over. You can roll it over and kind of expand the cap space.
Yeah, so anything you don't spend goes on to what you can spend next year. So I think they're going to want at least $35 million rolled over. And it might be a little bit more because you've still got to pay for practice squad guys during the year. When someone ends up on IR, you might have to sign another player to fill that space. So you'll probably burn sort of $5 to $10 million through the year, which is perfectly normal. So I think you're looking at around $35 million rolled over, and then you roll that onto next year. And we're expecting the salary cap next year. It doesn't get set until right at the end of the season to be about $225 million. So if we roll $35 million over, suddenly the Browns are operating with a salary cap of $260 million, where other teams might be around $225, which is a big benefit. If Deshaun Watson's contract then tolls, we're talking about the Browns having about $48 million of cap space before they then look at, hey, do we want to re-sign any players? Do we want to spend in free agency? So there's some doom and gloom around the Browns' financial salary cap situation next year. It doesn't really stack up in facts. There will be tough decisions made down the line where they have to go, actually, is this player worth X? They've done it with Sheldon Richardson. They've done it with Jarvis Landry. They will make tough decisions, but they're not going to have to panic yet. They're not like the Saints where they're up against it and having to let their premier left tackle go in free agency.
So eventually the salary cap comes due. It's just a matter of how far you can push it out, and it's, can you decide, well, this guy has kind of reached the end of his, top end life cycle. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, so decisions will come, and the buzzword Andrew Berry always seems to come back to when he's chatting about the salary cap, he loves using the word sequencing, and it's looking at the stuff where you might have a rookie Nick Chubb paired with a Kareem Hunt who's on a veteran deal. Suddenly Nick Chubb's on a veteran deal, and then they're not going to look to extend Kareem Hunt. Is something I'd say to Browns fans, expect that this is his final year and then he'll go off into free agency. But you see in loads of different positions, they had Denzel Ward's now getting paid, so they brought in Greg Newsome as the young stud. Then you've got edge room, you've got Myles Garrett on big money. They won't want to pay Clowney forever. They're going to want Alex Wright in a year's time to step up and be that number two. You've got Amari Cooper and DPJ. They've got Wills and Conklin. You look to have that balance between a veteran on big money and then a cheap rookie player. And that way you just keep cycling over because, hey, 4 years, that cheap rookie becomes a veteran, and then you need to get another cheap player in to replace that old veteran who, hey, he's done 8 years in the league. He's probably done.
And the important thing is you got to keep drafting guys that get those second contracts and can play, which Andrew Berry has been pretty successful in the early going doing, correct?
Yeah, he's done a really good job. There might not be loads of people in that sort of first draft class that blew the world out, and people love going back to that Saints draft class that had like Ramczyk, Kamara. It was phenomenal, but it's not something drafting. There's quite a bit of luck, but if you can just get players that are contributors through sort of day two into that start of day three, that is a really, really, really good spot for your team where you can go on and build on that and really, really compete. So it's not looking for, hey, can we get one star in a draft? It's more looking, do you get 4 solid players that are playing meaningful minutes? And then everything else then comes together.